guys, so I know that it's been a while. I know, I'm aware, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to get back into making videos. It's really difficult for me at the moment, both in French and in English. I hope you understand. If you want to stay more in touch, because I know I haven't been posting as much for the past 2 months, you can always follow me on Instagram, link is down below, as well as follow my blog where I post about traveling and my book club if you want to read with me and us. And you can also support me on Patreon if you want with $1 a month. I actually just posted a video today about my teaching experience and what it's been like for me for the moment so far. So yeah. I'm hoping to make this into a series. This is the first part with the English speaking world, and I'm hoping to soon make a video about the French authors you should definitely check out if you're interested in reading queer literature, and a third one which is going to be the rest of the world, because I am not an expert in other literatures, but I definitely have some recommendations that I would like to share with you. So yeah, I guess this won't be necessarily super interesting for you if you are from the US or from the UK or Australia, because those are absolute classics, especially if you are an English speaking person. But if you're unfamiliar with literature, or if you don't know where to start, maybe this is gonna help. And if you are watching my videos in English because you're from another country and you don't understand French, maybe this is gonna be interesting for you. So here we go. But stay tuned for the two next episodes, which I'm sure will perhaps be a bit more surprising and interesting for you, especially the French literature one. So the first one, and this won't be a surprise, but yeah, I had to include him. The first book I want to talk about is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. So yes, I could not make a video about queer literature in the English literature without mentioning James Baldwin. First of all, because he's an absolutely amazing writer. I think he writes amazingly well. He has such a poetic and yet very strong and very concise style and way of writing that takes you really to the core of who you are, and it makes you feel things. I feel like he has such... I feel like you can feel his intelligence through his writing. I am currently reading The Fire Next Time, which is one of the two options for the book club in October, and it's just as amazing as Giovanni's Room, even though it's completely different. Giovanni's Room was actually one of my favorite books in 2017, I believe. This was an amazing book. If you haven't read it yet, I would highly suggest you check it out. It is a beautiful love story that's very complex, very rich. It questions the concepts of identity and love and desire. It's beautifully written. It's set in Paris, and I just absolutely adore this book, and I'm sure most people would. So if you haven't read it, go get it, read it. Then another favorite book of mine, actually, where the plot is actually a lot more subtle when it comes to queerness. This is the Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. So Oscar Wilde, like James Baldwin, was gay. He is actually one of my favorite writers, I think, in the sense that he is so witty, he is so smart with his writing, and it's extremely elegant, and it's just really witty and elegant. If I were to describe it, that's how I would describe it. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows the plot of The Picture of Dorian Gray, and you might be wondering, where is the queerness in it? Well, the queerness in it is very different from the one you could find in Giovanni's Room, where it's absolutely explicit and it's just out there for you to see. Or rather for you to read, whereas in The Picture of Dorian Gray, it's more little details and pieces that put together really make a sort of like queer and gay underlying line. So it's definitely a different style, a different era, a different kind of take on it, but it's just such a great book, and to analyze it is just a delight. So I would absolutely recommend it. Absolutely. Next, we are coming on to something that's a bit more contemporary, modern. It is The Price of Salt, or Carol, by Patricia Highsmith. So I actually bought the book after watching the movie, and for maybe the first time in my life I did enjoy the movie more than I enjoyed the book. I wonder if it has to do with the order in which I got to know each of them, but I'm not sure. I just feel like, or maybe it's just because it's contemporary. As you may know, I am more of a classic, I'm completely more of a classic person, so sometimes I find it difficult to just enjoy and appreciate a contemporary novel or short story or even poetry as much as I do with the classics. But this was nonetheless very interesting, and it's the first one that features, it was actually, let me think. Yeah, it was the first book that I read describing a gay, like a lesbian relationship. So it is great. I included it in this list because I think if you're not too much into classics, or if you are too familiar with classics and want to read something new and something different, this could definitely be something for you. Next, we are completely into classics, and this is Orlando by Virginia Woolf. So to be fair, to be honest with you, I do not like Virginia Woolf too much. I like her ideas, I like what she did, but I just do not like her style. I find it for some reason difficult for me to get into, not in terms of like difficulties or complexity or quality, but it just doesn't click with me. So I couldn't say that this is a book that I particularly enjoyed. Just like I did for Mrs. Dalloway or The Waves, I did not really enjoy the books or A Room of One's Own, but I do know they're important, and I do know that a lot of people like those, so I wanted to include her in the list. Next, we have something different. We have poetry, and this is the collected poems of Audre Lorde. So Audre Lorde is a very she's like a very interesting and very strong figure in the literary world. She was like a black lesbian feminist artist, and those are very complex, strong and rich identities to carry, and her poetry is, how would I describe her poetry? It is modern. To me it feels very modern. It is kind of modern. It feels very modern. It feels very personal. It is very personal. It's very direct. It's kind of strong. It's like you read one or two poems and you have to take a break from it, if you know what I mean. Whereas for some poetry, you can just read through the collection, and it's fine. You don't need to take that break to absorb in what you've just read and to let it suck into your body, so to speak. I would absolutely suggest you check her out if you're interested in either queer literature or black literature or feminist literature. And if you're interested in all of those things, she is definitely an author that you should check out. Next, what do we have here? We have something that I bought online and that was really difficult to find. This is Gay and Lesbian Poetry in Our Time. So this is an anthology of gay and lesbian poetry. It focuses on contemporary work. It's actually focusing on poetry written from 1950 to the present, which was 1980, I believe, and it's amazing. It's actually so great because, as Anthology often do, you have a lot of authors that you would not have heard of otherwise, and especially for me as a French person, a lot of them have never been translated into French, so it's definitely great to have an anthology where you can actually meet new authors and discover new ways of describing love and what it is to be gay or lesbian, and the relationship they have with themselves, their identity, their lovers, and how it's, you know, how they live it in society, I suppose. I would say that this one is actually really nice because they do have a fair share of lesbian poetry in it, which is oftentimes a bit difficult to find, I would say. And they also have a lot of different like, you have black people, you have Latino people, you have white people, and it's interesting to combine always in this sort of intersectional way. It's very interesting to combine all those different lines of identities and how you are seen and accepted kind of by the world. It is very interesting to read that kind of books with other parts of someone's identity in mind. Although, I mean, of course, first of all, you don't want to like limit someone to their sexual orientation, but also just to fully understand, I mean, not fully understand, this is impossible, but to attempt at fully and as seriously and accurately as possible understand what it feels like to be gay or lesbian in such time, such country, in said time, and said country. You also have to take in consideration other aspects of someone's identity, because all of those are intertwined in the way that society treats us. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this very short video with a few recommendations. I would absolutely love for you to share your own recommendations in the comments below. Please stay tuned for the next part, which is hopefully happening next week, with the French queer authors you should read. I'm going to try and focus on authors that have been translated into English. Most of them have been, I believe, but some of them haven't. So yeah, I hope you found this interesting. I really hope you guys are having a wonderful month of October. Please feel free to, as I said in the first minutes of the video, follow me on my other social media accounts, just so that we can keep in touch, because it's busy times for me, and I know that I'm not so much alive and active on YouTube, and I'm sorry about that. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!